Holocaust was a systematic atrocity and conducted by German Nazis that prioritized the unrightful extermination of the Jewish race. The final solution describes the several millions of Jewish men, women, and children that were forcibly taken away from their homes and killed in gas chambers. One family, the Franks, hid in a secret annex to escape the cruel Nazi regime. In this YouTube video, we recreated the secret annex in the social simulation game The Sims 4, created by Maxis, the best way we could. Then, we recreated one scene in the Diary of Anne Frank, a drama by Goodrich and Hackett.
This is also a school project, so we had to keep this professional. The way this will be presented is first by doing a tour of the annex that we built from the ground up. After that, we'll segment to where we reenact some of the scenes in the book. Remember, please hit that subscribe button and smash that subscribe button. In the office, this is where Meep and Mr. Crawler would discuss the war and also guard the house if in case some intruders come inside. But as we know, that does fail because one day they're not there and a thief does come in and that's how they get caught. Either way, this is the main room where they discuss the war and also probably work on their main jobs. This is the hallway where the bookshelf would be. We moved the bookshelf out of the way of the door entryway just to show how it's movable. In the play, which this is based off of, or the diary, the bookshelf is movable, which leads into the secret annex. We tried to recreating it by making it be vertical against the door. Next is the storage room. Before, this was used as a as like the kind of safe haven for the Jewish people. It was originally a building, so at first it was just kind of like a storage room, but now it's kind of an entryway for them. Next up is Next up is Anne Frank's and Mr. Doozle's room. In this room, we can see that there's two beds, one for Anne Frank and one for Mr. Doozle. In this room, I tried to add the desk where Anne Frank would write in her diary, try to make it be more like a girl's room by adding a little teddy bear. On Mr. Doozle's side, I just put his backpack to kind of symbolize that he arrived late into the story. So, like, you know, he hasn't finished unpacking. Now we're inside the Margot and Mrs. and Mr. Frank's bedroom. Fun fact, Margot used to be inside the same room as Anne Frank before Mr. Doozle got there. But of course, Mr. Doozle got there and they had to switch rooms. Mr. and Mrs. Frank would share one bed while Margot would be in this one. We tried to make it be similar, how like having a bookshelf and stuff. But the Sims Stores does have a limited options of tools, so we did have to improvise. In the next room, we have Mr. and Mrs. Van Dan's room, or the kitchen, since it kind of had to be a hybrid since it was a very small space. The website that we used, www.onfrank.org, it was showing that the two beds were kind of like this, and like very compact, so we tried to reenact it in the game, which was very hard to set up. The kitchen itself, it had a oven and a sink, but of course, whenever there was people inside the building, they couldn't use the sink or any electrical tools, so if in case someone would notice, so they played it safe. Next is Peter Van Dan's room. His room had a bicycle in the picture, but the Sims 4 has like a very limited supply of items, so we couldn't recreate that. But we could recreate the cat, Mushi. Of course, the cat was a tabby, but I don't have the DLC of this game that adds pets, so we had to improvise, as always. And yeah, that's the tour of the house.
You dirty thief, stealing food. You good for nothing.
Mr. Doozle, for God's sake, help me, Peter!
Let him go. Let him go. You greedy, selfish.
Putty, what is this? The bread! He was stealing the bread!
It was you, and all the time we thought it was the rats.
Mr. Van Dan, how could you?
I'm hungry.
We're all hungry. I see the children getting thinner and thinner. Your own son, Peter, I heard him moan in his sleep. He's so hungry, and you come at night and steal the food that should go to them, to the children. He needs more food than the rest of us. He used to getting more. He's a big man. And you're worse than he is. You're a mother, and yet you sacrifice your own children to this man.
Edith.
Don't think I haven't seen you. Don't think I haven't seen you. Always saving the choicest bits for him. I've watched you day after day, and I held my tongue. But not any longer. Not after this. Now I want him to go. I want him to get out of here.
Edith.
Get out of here? What do you mean?
Just that. Take your things and get out.
You're speaking in anger. You cannot mean what you're saying.
I mean exactly that.
For 2 long years, we have lived here, side by side. We have represented each other's rights. We have managed to live in peace. Are we now going to throw it all away? I know this will never happen again. Will it, Mr. Van Daan?
No.
He steals once. He'll steal again.
Edith, please, let us be calm. We all have to go to our rooms, and afterwards, we'll sit down quietly and talk this out. We'll find a way.
No more talk. I want them to leave. You'll put us out on the streets? There's other hiding places. A cellar, a closet. I know we'll have no money left to even pay for that. I'll give you money out of my own pocket. I'll give it gladly. Mr. Frank, you told Putty you'll never forget what he's done for you when he came to Amsterdam. You said you could never repay him, that you... If my husband has any obligations to you, he has paid it over and over.
Edith, I've never seen you like this before. I do not know you.
I should have spoken out long ago.
You can't be nice to some people.
There's plenty for all of us, if you hadn't come in here.
We don't need the Nazis to destroy us. We're destroying ourselves.
Give this to me. She'll find you a place. Mother, you're not putting Peter out. Peter has done nothing wrong. He'll stay with us, of course. When I say I must protect the children, I mean Peter too.
I'd have to go if father goes.
He's no father to you. That man. He doesn't know what it is to be a father.
I wouldn't feel right. I couldn't stay.
Very well, then. I'm sorry. No, Peter, no. Please, Mother. They'll have to go. They'll be going now. They'll stay here until me finds them a place. But one thing I insist on, he must never come down here again. He must never come to this room. When the food is stored, we'll find and divide the food we have in equal stacks. Oh no, we haven't sunk that far that we're going to fight over a handful of rolling potatoes.
Mrs. Frank, Mr. Frank, Margaret, Anne, Peter, Mrs. Von Don, Mr. Von Don, myself.
It's Meep.
At this hour, it is trouble.
I beg of you, don't let her see things like this.
Anne, Peter, Mrs. Von Don, Mrs. Von Don, myself.
Oh, Dazzle, stop it! Stop it!
Mr. Frank, Margaret, Anne, Peter, Mrs. Von Don, Mr. Von Don, myself, Mrs. Frank.
Oh, you're keeping the big ones for yourself. All the big ones. Look at the size of that and that. Stop it. Stop it. Mr. Frank, the most wonderful news. The invasion has begun.
Go on, tell them, tell them.
Did you hear that, everybody? Did you hear what I said? The invasion has begun. The invasion. When, where, Meep? It began earlier this morning. Oh, Mr. Van Daan, did you hear that? How do you know?
The radio, the BBC, they said they landed on the east coast of Normandy.
The British?
British, Americans, French, Dutch, Poles, Norwegians, all of them. More than 4,000 ships. Churchill spoke, and the German Insauer D-Day they call it. Thank God, it has come. At last. I'm gonna tell Mr. Crawler this. This will be better than any blood transfusion. What part of Normandy did they land on, you say? Normandy, that's all I know. I'll be up there in a minute. I hear some more. What did I tell you? What did I tell you all? Pooty, Pooty, what is it? What has happened?
Please, I'm so ashamed. Oh, for God's sake.
Don't, Pooty. It doesn't matter now. Didn't you hear what Meep said? The invasion has begun. We're going to be liberated. This is a time to celebrate.
To steal bread from children.
We all have done things that we're ashamed of. Look at me. The way I've treated Mother. So mean. So horrid. No, Anne, no. Oh, Mother. I truly was so awful.
Not like me. No one was as bad as me. Stop it now. Let's be happy.
When I think of the terrible things I said.
No, you were right.
That I should speak to you in such a way. Our friends, our guests.
Stop it. You're spoiling the whole invasion.
We're all in much better spirits nowadays. There's still excellent news of invasion. But the best part is about I have feeling that friends are coming. Who knows? Maybe I'll be back in school by fall. Ha ha! This is a joke on all of us. The warehouse man doesn't know a thing, and we're paying him all that money. Wednesday, the 2nd of July, 1944. The invasion seems temporarily to be bogged down. Mr. Crawlers has said to have operations, which looks bad. The Gestapo has found the radio that was stolen. Mr. Duzzle says they'll trace it back and back to the thief. And then it's just a matter of time till they get us. Everyone is low. Even poor Pim can't raise their spirits. I have often been downcasted myself, but I never in despair. I can shake it off everything if I write. And that is the great question. Will I ever be able to write well? I want to so much. I want to go on living even after my death. Another birthday has gone by now. So now I am 15. Already I know what I want. I want to have a goal, an opinion.